So what are the most common Jeep Wrangler failures? They don't have the best reputation after all, although I think it's better than it used to be. And what does it cost to have them repaired? You know, nobody wants to have any issues, but here's what to expect if you do, I suppose, and how much you're going to have to pony up to pay to have it fixed. It says here, Jeep Wranglers are highly capable vehicles. We know that. But they are known for specific mechanical, suspension, and electrical weak points. You see, and my question is, when something like that is stated, if they're known, that means the manufacturer knows, so why in the hell don't they fix them? I don't know. Because they feature unique solid axle design and modular builds, their long-term ownership costs are higher than standard crossovers, which I wouldn't really call a Jeep a crossover, but hey, anyway, with an average annual repair cost ranging between $694 and $1,234 after the factory warranty expires. So get these things taken care of before you lose your warranty, right? The most common Jeep Wrangler failures, their root causes, and typical repair costs include, number one, the death wobble. I keep seeing this pop up, and I have seen this pop up for literally years, right? Why doesn't Jeep fix it? Suspension and steering. This is an infamous issue where the failure, or rather, this is an infamous issue where the entire front end of the Jeep shakes violently at highway speeds, usually after hitting a bump or pothole, so that gets it going, right? It is caused by loose, worn, or damaged front suspension components, which in all fairness can be caused by either extreme use or improperly installing aftermarket parts. Root cause, rapid wear on the front track bar, bushing, tie rods, drag link, or ball joints. Note, replacing just the steering stabilizer acts merely as a temporary band-aid to mask the issue. So you got to fix the whole thing, right? It says here, average shop cost $500 to $1,500, and then it breaks them down. Track bar replacement, $250 to $400. Ball joints, $300 to $800. Full heavy-duty front steering rebuild and alignment, $1,500. This is one area where I think you probably shouldn't cheap out. If you have this problem and it drives you insane, like it would for me, I mean, nothing worse than going down the freeway and your Jeep is doing this, right? You should have it fixed properly. Number two, cracked plastic oil filter housing / cooler on the engine. Again, this is something that I've heard about for years. Why in the hell doesn't Jeep fix it? The issue heavily impacts the incredibly common 3.6 liter Pentastar V6 engine, right back here. The factory oil filter housing sits directly inside the engine valley and is made entirely of plastic. Over time, engine heat cycles cause the plastic to warp, crack, and pool oil right at the top of the transmission. Great. Root causes, brittle factory plastic housing cracking from heat or over-tightening during an oil change. We all hear the horror stories about over-torquing everything. When you take your Jeep into the shop, why wouldn't they over-torque this and ruin it too, right? Average shop cost to repair, $600 to $1,100. So that $50, $60 oil change, or less if you go to one of the quick lubes or something, could end up costing you $1,100. Tip, many independent mechanics recommend replacing the broken piece with a sturdier, upgraded aluminum aftermarket housing, such as the Dorman unit, I never heard of that, to fix the design flaw permanently. If it can be fixed permanently, why isn't Jeep doing it from the beginning? Again. 3, totally integrated power module, the TIPM failure, and this is electrical. The TIPM is the distribution box that controls virtually all electrical power flowing through the vehicle. When it begins to degrade, it causes the Jeep to seem possessed. Fuel pumps won't turn off, draining the battery. Windshield wipers activate at random. Windows freeze, or the engine completely stalls while driving. And now that could be a safety issue, right? Root cause, internal circuit board solder joints cracked cracking, or relays burning out inside the power module. The average shop cost to repair, $900 to $1,500. You know, so far, every one of these, I still am amazed that Jeep hasn't taken care of them. I mean, why? Number 4, galvanic door hinge corrosion, part of the body, of course. We've heard about this many times. I've talked about it more than I care to. But it says, because the Wranglers mix modular materials, Jeep mounts lightweight aluminum doors onto raw steel hinges. If moisture penetrates the thin factory barrier between these two metals, a chemical reaction occurs, galvanic corrosion, causing bubbling paint and white oxidation powder around the hinges. This is something that you probably should maybe check once in a while just to see if you're starting to have the problem before it becomes a bigger problem. Root cause, dissimilar metal contact causing galvanic corrosion beneath the factory paint layer. Then the paint bubbles, you've got problems, right? Average shop cost, $800 to $2,500. Depending on how many door/hood hinges need removal, sanding, zinc insulation treatment, and complete paint matching. So it's a whole bunch of body work to take care of it, right? Number 5, electronic sway bar disconnect failure, and this is part of the drivetrain or off-roading piece of the Jeep Wrangler, I guess. On higher tier trims like the Rubicon, a dashboard button electronically splits the front sway bar to allow the suspension to flex further over rocks. The factory housing for this actuator is mounted low on the frame, making it vulnerable to the elements. Root cause, water or mud breaching the rubber gaskets, shorting out the internal circuit board and leaving the sway bar disconnected permanently. Average shop cost to fix, $1,500 to $2,200 for full factory replacement. And there is a tip. Many owners bypass this expensive fix entirely by installing a manual dial replacement kit like the Evo No Limits dial for roughly $100 to $150. Sounds like financially that's probably more the way to go, right? But again, I have a big problem with this, and yeah, I've mentioned it a few times in the video. All of these things there are aftermarket fixes for. So why isn't Jeep changing the, I guess, manufacturing process, maybe utilizing some of these parts or coming up with their own or whatever, because they can be fixed? It just shows a lack of concern or care for the customer, I guess, since Jeep does nothing to fix these things. And I know it's all about cost, right? Maybe these parts are more money, maybe they can make more money on their own setups, so they don't want to put these things in after the fact. Maybe they just like to repair them and provide work for their service shops. Hard to say. Anyway, leave a comment, let me know. Ever experienced any of these things, and what did you do to fix them? I'd be curious to know. Thanks for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.